we're going to talk about the 3 skills of a law firm owner that create a self-managing firm. The reason that I'm going to go through this is because when we think about creating a self-managing firm, oftentimes we think that creating a self-managing firm is about creating a self-managing firm, but it actually has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the skills that it takes to build a self-managing firm, the mindset that it takes to build a self-managing firm, because the self-managing firm is just the byproduct of you living the 3 skills of a law firm owner that I'm going to be breaking down, right? So over the last 2 days, we've brought you through a lot of stuff, right? Someone typed the word a lot in the chat if you agree with that, right? And we showed you examples of now attorneys from 6 different practice areas that you've seen grow their firms very fast, all different revenue sizes, right? And you got to ask yourself at this point, if you still don't think you can do it because of some unique situation, that's whose problem? Let me know. Whose problem is it at this point? Right? Okay. So that's why we show you all people from different practice areas and revenue sizes, is because we're trying to show you, not tell you, show you from other people who have actually done this and scaled their firms rapidly, that anyone can do it, including your specific situation. Okay? So what I want to first break down is how I learned these 3 habits of a law firm owner in my own business owner journey. Can anyone remember the first employee that you ever hired? Give me a 1 in the chat if you can remember the first employee you ever hired, right? Now, how many of you have over 10 employees? Put a 10 in the chat for the few of you who have over 10 employees. Okay. So a couple of you just typed the 10 in the chat, okay? And if you put a 2 after that, that's how many employees I have, 102, right? What was the scariest hire for those of you who just said you have 10 employees or more? The first or the 10th? Which one was the scariest? Yeah, the first, right? What was more scary? The first $10,000 you spent on marketing, or the $10,000 you spent after you're already spending $100,000? The first $10,000 is going to be the scariest, right? What's going to be scariest? The first time that you invest in a mentor, a consultant, a coach to advance your learning, or the 10th time? Who wants to let me know in the chat? The first, right? So when we invest in our practices, there's 3 areas of investment, right? And we broke this down with the 20-40-10 rule, right? 20% of your future revenue goal invested in lead generation, 20% invested in people, 40% invested in people, and 10% invested in learning, right? 20, 40, 10. 20% in leads, 40% in people, 10% in learning, right? When I hired my first employee, I still remember the day. I was pacing around my apartment in Philadelphia, and the guy's name was Jason. I had just finished an interview with him. This is when I had 0 employees at S&B team, right? And I paced around my apartment. He wanted something like $5,000 a month or something. And at that point in time, I was only making like $10,000 a month. So the amount of fear that rushed through my body when I hired that first employee was 20 out of 10. It was the scariest feeling ever. I was so scared. Now, why did I hire that employee? Who wants to take a guess? Well, there's 3 reasons I hired that employee, and it ties into the 3 skills I'm about to break down for you. Number 1, I had in my mind a big positive outcome. Why else would I hire an employee unless I was expecting something bigger to happen in my business in the future? Otherwise, there's no reason to hire anyone. So I believed in a big positive outcome that the business was going to grow, and I needed staff in order to get there. Number two, I committed first. There was never the right time to part ways with half of my take-home income. Is there ever the right time to part ways with half of your take-home income to invest in your practice? Yes or no? No, but I committed first either way. And when I committed, I had to embrace what I call 10x leadership. And I had to let go. Because once I hired the person, it would be insanity to pay someone $5,000 a month and then to go and micromanage them and go back to what I was doing before. So I had to embrace these three skills, which I've been practicing through every phase of growth. Visualizing a big positive outcome, committing first, and embracing 10x leadership. The first time I spent money on ads for SMB team, so scared. It was on Google Ads, and I explained this yesterday and the day before. I started marketing 2 lawyers on Google. My first month, I spent $6,000 on Google. It was the scariest thing ever. Why did I spend $6,000 on Google in my first month? You think I went into it expecting to waste $6,000? Yes or no? Hell no. That would be insanity. No, I went through the same exact process. I was scared out of my mind. But I visualized a big positive outcome. I asked myself, what if it works? What if this actually works? So I visualized a big positive outcome. I committed first, and then I embraced 10x leadership, right? 10x leadership of letting go, letting it actually work, right? And I'll explain what each of these three things mean. Fast forward this all the way to the time when I hired my first coach for $50,000. Does anyone know who that is who's been following me for a while? Who is the first coach I paid $50,000 to? Give me a guess in the chat if anyone remembers this. No, not Tony Robbins, not Dan Sullivan. My first coach that I paid $50,000 cash up front to, that I paid $50,000 to. I hired many coaches before this person, was Cameron Herold, right? The former chief operating officer at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I had one call with him. By the end of the call, he told me, Bill, if you don't sign up with me, you're basically burning money. That's what he told me at the end of the call. I had a one-on-one call with Cameron Herold, COO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is after he declined me. He declined me months before because I was doing too low in revenue. I kept calling him. I got on a second call with him, and he said, Bill, it's $50,000. Now, because of how fast you've grown in the last couple of months, you qualify, and you basically need to give me a yes or no because I don't take on a lot of one-on-one coaching clients. So I need to know. What do you guys think I did? You think I went and thought about it, prayed on it? What do you think? Yes or no? Nope. Wired him $50,000, literally left my office, went to the bank, and wire transferred him $50,000 cash. Why did I spend $50,000 on Cameron Herold? Why didn't I just keep doing what I'm doing? Oh, here are the 3 secrets again coming in. I visualized a big positive outcome. I knew where I was going. Did I commit first? Yes, I commit first. And then I embraced 10x leadership and let go of my old ways of doing things so I could actually absorb his coaching. So these 3 skills have been the 3 biggest skills that have contributed to my growth as a CEO. Number 1, visualizing big positive outcomes. Please, everyone, write these 3 down. Visualizing the big positive outcome. Number 2, knowing how to commit first in order to reach those outcomes. And number 3, becoming a 10x leader. And on repeat, every single time, I've had to embrace these 3. And I'm going to break down each of them for you right now. And these are the 3 skills that I've seen the law firm owners who have transformational growth all go through. Skill number 1, visualizing big, positive outcomes. What do you think is the default phrase that goes through most attorneys' brains? What if it doesn't what? Who wants to let me know in the chat? What if it doesn't what? Work, right? So visualizing big positive outcomes is something I would hope everyone listening right now becomes addicted to. So let's break this down. Big and positive out. So what is a big outcome? Dude, if you want to have massive progress and you have small goals, you're kidding yourself. Your goals need to be absolutely huge in order to motivate you to take enough action for them. So my first question as part of big positive outcome, is the outcome big enough? Is the outcome big enough? Number 2, big positive outcome. What if it does work? Question number 3 that goes through someone who's big and positive outcome. Okay, so big is the outcome big enough? Positive is thinking about it from a, what if it does work? That's a positive lens. And number 3, what is it going to take to make it work? Does everyone understand the power of those 3 questions I just broke down? You're literally trapping yourself into productive thinking patterns when you ask yourself, is my outcome big enough? What if it does work? And what's it going to take to make it work? If you continually, on repeat, ask yourself those 3 questions, is my outcome big enough? What if it works? And what's it going to take to make it work? You're embracing what I call 10x thinking. 10x thinking is expansive thinking, right? You force yourself into a big goal with a positive lens and a proper understanding of the amount of work it's going to take to reach that positive outcome. So that's skill number 1 of a law firm owner, not lawyer, law firm owner, okay, who creates a self-managing firm. You're better off doing what you're doing now if you're not going to embrace this first skill of visualizing big positive outcomes. So, can I get a yes in the chat that everyone will make a commitment to me that you'll practice skill number 1 that I've seen across hundreds of law firms, okay? Skill number 2. Law firm owners that create self-managing firms, they understand how to commit first. So I'm going to go over to the whiteboard over here. I'm going to break down, what does it mean to commit first? So once you visualize big positive outcomes, yesterday, very quickly, I brought you through the 4 C's diagram, which I learned from one of my coaches, Dan Sullivan. And I want to break this down very quickly. All right, so if I want to grow my law firm to the next level, which of these 4 boxes should I start with? If I want to grow my firm to the next level, should I gain the confidence first? Should I build a new capability first? Should I wait until I have the courage? Should I commit first and figure out the rest later? Let me know which one of these four is the fastest way to create progress in your firm. What do you think the most successful law firm owners start with? Give me a 1, 2, a 3, or a 4 in the chat. Where did they start? The level of progress that you've seen, or lack of progress that you've seen up to this point right now in your firm, comes down to what I'm showing you right here. The old you waited until you had the confidence to do things, waited until you had the capability to do things, waited until you had the courage to do things. The owner, the new identity that you're stepping into, you start by committing first. You force yourself through a period of courage. Like I said yesterday, fear is wetting your pants. Courage is doing what you set out to do, your vision, that big positive outcome you have, doing what you set out to do with wet pants, with the fear, with the embarrassment. You commit first. You force yourself to earn your courage, to earn a new capability because of what you committed to, and you walk out the other side with a higher level of confidence, and you end up repeating this on every growth trajectory of your firm. And like I broke down yesterday, there's two types of commitment. There's commitment in the wallet, and there's commitment in the calendar, right? When I paid $50,000 to my first big expensive coach, Cameron Herold, I committed first. I scheduled all my one-on-one coaching calls with him first. It scared the shit out of me. That's courage. I learned a new capability because of that commitment that I made on leadership and hiring, and it unlocked me to this whole different level. I learned about the vivid vision process, which now I teach, right? And I learned the confidence of, wow, I committed, I banked on myself, I learned this new skill, and now I have more confidence as a leader, right? When I saw that amazing outcome, now my six-figure executive coach, who's a $500 million CEO, because you always need to, if the person who's coaching you is not growing faster than you, you need a new coach, right? So I had to go find a $500 million CEO coach, right? And I have to pay him 6 figures a year to coach me. But because I had already been through this process once, I immediately committed rapidly. So you commit first through the 4 C's. And what's really interesting is just like the law firm growth acceleration model, right? The law firm growth acceleration model, which has leads at the bottom, intake, self-managing team, right? We have leads. You guys, we've probably said this a million times now. Leads, intake, self-managing team, profit, right? Well, what I've found is there's also this similar concept. Remember, we're talking about the second skill of a law firm owner to create a self-managing firm. And that second skill ties into what I call the progress triangle. So the progress triangle is a psychological methodology that is what I've found the closest thing to guaranteeing your success. psychologically speaking. So let me break this down. So I used this example on day one of the event and talked about the difference between at the beginning of the year, someone says they want to get in shape, right? Let's say at the beginning of the year, has anyone ever had a desire to get in better shape at the beginning of the year? Person A, they go and order one healthy meal in the first week after the new year. Person B, they hire a fitness coach and they pre-order meal prep for the first 6 months of the year and pre-schedule all their fitness training sessions. Who's going to succeed? Person A, tiptoeing in and out, or person B, who committed in advance, paid up front, paid the price today so they can pay any price tomorrow, paid up front for their fitness coach, paid up front for their meal prep, and pre-scheduled all their sessions for 6 months. That's person B, or person A who just ordered one healthy meal. Who's going to succeed? We all know it. Go ahead, let me put a B in the chat. Who's going to succeed, person A or person B? So psychologically what happens is the three triggerings here psychologically happened in the person B example. Okay? Number one is pain of payment. What you pay for, you pay attention to. Okay? What you pay for, you pay attention to. There's very limited things in the human brain, and I had to learn all this when I was overcoming anxiety. There's very few things in the human brain that trigger dopamine and cortisol simultaneously. And one of those things is pain of payment. When you pay a lot of money for something, when you invest in your practice, you're going to be scared. That's cortisol. That's stress hormones releasing in your mind. That's what's called buyer's remorse. That's what we call it. And also, when you pay a lot of money for something, there's also simultaneously excitement. And the mix of these two emotions, fear and excitement, are the top psychological motivating factor. The mix of fear, just enough fear to get you to take action, but enough optimism to take the action. Does everyone understand the balance of what I just said? Give me a yes in the chat. Now, that's a psychological motivating factor that traps you into success. If I would have paid $1 for my executive coach, I wouldn't have paid attention as much than if I paid 6 figures for my current executive coach. There's more pain of payment. Therefore, I pay attention more. Number 2 is calendar effect. Again, your commitments are made in the wallet or the calendar. Show me your calendar, I'll show you your future. Calendar effect shows that once you've embraced pain of payment, show me what's in your calendar. Show me what's pulling you forward. Show me what your commitments are pulling you forward. Everyone needs things in their calendar that they look forward to. This is why you should always pre-schedule your vacations months out so you can actually hold yourself accountable to calendar effect. Right? You should be scheduling your workout sessions out in your calendar with the exact minute of the day you're going to be working out. You should be calendaring your day based on outcomes. That's what I do. That's why I schedule my weeks every Sunday. I schedule my entire upcoming week because I embrace calendar effect. I know that when something's in my calendar, I am tremendously more likely to get it done, whether that's for my fitness, my health, or my business. And then you actually you combine this with group accountability effect. If you are a solo practitioner and you only spend time with solo practitioners, what are you going to stay? Let me know in the chat. You're going to remain a solo practitioner, right? Pretty simple. So you need group accountability effect, not only in the people that you surround yourself with, but those who actually hold you accountable to the new you. If everyone around you is supporting of your current reality, you're not going to grow. You need people to challenge your current reality. And the difficulty with this when you're in business is who holds you accountable? Who holds the CEO of a company accountable? The founder of a law firm accountable? What do you think it is in most firms? Who's holding you accountable? Anyone or no one? I'm looking in the chat. What do you think it is for most law firms? Nobody. Nobody is holding you accountable to growing and becoming the next version of yourself through scheduled commitments, right? So when you merge these three things together, this is what I call the progress triangle, right? This is how to commit. It's one thing for me to say to commit, right? To visualize a big positive outcome and then to commit, but this is how you commit. You embrace pain of payment. In the areas in which your firm is struggling, you pay to solve the problem. You schedule to solve the problem. And you get people to hold you accountable to solve the problem. This is why I have a nutrition coach, fitness coaches. I have coaches for every single area of our business, right? Because I am not stubborn enough to believe I can outgame willpower. Anyone ever hear of the book Willpower Doesn't Work? It doesn't. Environment is what works. You change your environment, habit formation becomes tremendously easier. So, that's habit number 2. So, habit number 1 is of law firm owners to create self-managing firms is visualizing big positive outcomes. Number 2 is learning how to commit first. To force yourself into progress. And number 3 is to become a 10x leader. Because as soon as you visualize big positive outcomes and you learn how to commit first, everyone do this with your hands really quickly. Put your hands up like this. Okay? And now go like this, like you're letting go. 10x leadership is letting go. There's no reason to commit to hiring people for your firm, investing in your firm's growth, and then to grasp on the way that things were in the past. True or false? Otherwise, you're going to grasp on to an old reality that's going to burn you out when you start pouring fuel on the fire. There's no reason to keep grasping and grasping, right? So the way to become a 10x leader is to do what I call to shed your 1x identity. Okay? So here's how you shed your 1x identity. So the first way that you shed your 1x identity, and I'll give you a quick example on this. When I first started marketing on Google Ads, I'll admit it, and this is painful for me to even say, I tiptoed into it. Based on where my goals were, I can't believe I only spent $6,000 in that first month on Google Ads. Looking back, I was thinking small. I was a tiptoe marketer. I was waiting for it to work before I went all in. Now, one of the identity sheddings I've had to go through is I'm now an all-in marketer. Someone type all in the chat. You don't succeed at the things that you tiptoe into. You succeed at the things you go all in on. I wish I knew that sooner. The second identity shedding that I had to go through was the micromanager. When I hired that first employee for $5,000 a month, and I was so scared, what do you think I did to that employee? I looked over his shoulder on every piece of work that he did. Anyone ever guilty of doing this like I am? I needed to audit every single thing that went out to a client. I needed to proofread everything. It just is what it is. It was painful. Hiring that person caused me a lot of pain because I still was the micromanager. And I had to shed that identity, that 1X identity, become a 10X leader and to actually start trusting. So I became a truster. So I went from micromanager to truster. The third identity I had to shed was the question fielder, which leads to what you just put down there, Cindy. Because I was the micromanager and checking in on everything, everyone came to who? Me. So I didn't have the freedom that I wanted by hiring this team and starting to hire people. So I had to unlearn the question fielder identity, and I had to embrace disciplined meetings. If you were to watch how SMB team is run internally, it's literally like a military operation. Like every single meeting has clear agendas. Every section of every meeting is timed through a meeting software that we partnered with a company on, and we have our internal meeting software, which we give to our clients. Every single thing that we do has clear agendas, clear outcomes tied to every meeting, timed segments of every single meeting, every minute spent in a meeting, so that anytime anytime someone on my team has a question, they know to bring it up during a meeting with a clear intentional outcome tied to it, preferably during our weekly leadership meeting. So I had to kill the question fielder to become a meeting master. Number 4, I had to kill the identity of being a random planner. I was always coming up with, out from the blue ideas, shiny object syndrome. And I had to become a quarterly strategist. I had to kill the random planner in order to become the quarterly strategist of my business. So I could visualize 3-month chunks of time and plan, brief, execute, debrief. Plan with my team what the next 3 months are going to be focused on, brief them on that, and then let them execute it. So I had to kill the random planner in me to become the quarterly strategist. I had to kill the drive-by delegator in me. Just like a drive-by shooting. Used to run around my office, interrupting people in the middle of their work, telling them, hey, can we just get this done right now? I had to kill that part of me to become a standard setter. Realize that anytime I had to fix something was a sign that I didn't set standards in advance of what I wanted. And last but not least, I had to kill the drama tolerator. I always felt chained to everyone on my team. Anyone have someone who creates drama in your team? Give me a yes in the chat if you have someone who creates drama in your team. I had to kill that side of me. I tolerated drama because I was scared to let people go. I was scared to put my foot down for my core values. So therefore, my core values didn't really matter. They were just pipe dreams. Until I killed the drama tolerator and I became the values setter of my company. That's 10X leadership. So the 3 skills of a law firm owner to create a self-managing firm is to visualize big, positive outcomes, to learn how to commit first with everything that you do without a perfect plan. It's never the right time. and to embrace 10x leadership. And at every phase of growth in your firm, you're going to come back to these three things. Am I visualizing the big and the positive outcomes that I want? Am I committing in accordance to those big positive outcomes that I want? And then am I embracing 10x leadership so I can let go and let these commitments bear fruit?